When we hear our scripture readings at Mass, when we hear these different passages or we read them on our own or reflect on them in our prayer time, it is often a good practice to ask that question, what is the point? What is the reason that these were included in the Mass cycle? What is the intention? What are they trying to emphasize or point out or teach in different ways? What is the theme? What is going on here? And in our readings today, as we hear that genealogy, I think sometimes people ask that question quite a bit. What is the point? Why do we have this entire genealogy in Matthew and in Luke's gospel? What is the point of this? And there are a number of reasons, and today we see the light of it in a couple of different ways, not least in connection with our first reading as well from the book of Genesis. And the big points that we want to take away today that we're being reminded of as we're in this last stretch towards Christmas is to remember that birth of Jesus, that he truly is of human lineage, that he truly comes from the descendants of the Jewish people. He is Jewish by nationality, by descent, by birth, very much connected with the people, with the tribe, with that history of salvation. He is also divine, and that's something that we can't forget either, that he is human and fully divine, but he's not just appearing out of nowhere. He is coming as part of a family. And so it does help to have a little bit of that genealogy. But the bigger part that we see today from the first reading, from Jacob speaking to his sons, he is saying of Judah that the scepter shall never depart from Judah or the mace from between his legs. While tribute is brought to him, he receives the people's homage. He is blessing Judah, which is his fourth son. It's not even the eldest son, it's the fourth son. He is blessing, and he is blessing in a particular way, and he is acknowledging that Judah will have authority even over his brothers. The sons of your father, your brothers, shall bow down to you. He is talking about his lineage, and from his lineage will come the ruler of the people of Jacob, the people of Israel. And obviously there is that culmination in David, the king, and that fullest of culminations in Jesus himself. So from the genealogy connecting Jesus to David is acknowledging the authority that Jesus has. Those terms of the scepter and the mace, those were kingly instruments. Those were symbols not of necessarily of violence, but of authority. It was often the king or the ruler who, upon his throne, would hold that scepter, and in holding that scepter would make lawful decrees and would establish law and decide things with that authority of the position, of the power of that throne of the kingdom. Jesus has authority, and part of the point of the gospel is to recognize that he has that real authority over even secular things, even as a king would over his subjects. But it's also important then to recognize that he goes back not just to David, but he goes back to Abraham, considered that father of the faith. And in making that connection, not just to David with the secular authority, the kingship, the ruler over the people, but to Abraham, the father of the faith, he is saying not just secular authority, but spiritual authority as well. And perhaps even more importantly, that he has authority over spiritual matters as well. And in our reading of this gospel, of these passages at Mass today, we are to remember that authority of Christ, that we are to pay him homage, that we are to bring him tribute as our King, the tribute of our lives, of our sacrifice, of our prayers, are meant to be offered to him. We are meant to give him that authority that is his by right, to recognize it in him and humbly turn to him in that submission, not just for spiritual matters, but for the secular ones, the things of this world as well. That we might live in right accord according to God and his promise for us, according to the way that we have been created, which will, through that grace of Christ, bring us to glory, bring us to happiness, bring us to life eternal.